All right, y'all. It's been a few months since I made my last What's in My Wallet video, and honestly, a lot has changed since that video. So I'm really excited to get to go over this with y'all here today, and there's no big intro for this one. We're just going to dive into all of the cards that I have in my personal day-to-day wallet, as well as the cards here in my backup wallet that I use on a semi-frequent basis. And at the end, we'll do a big summary screen of all the cards that I have and what I use each of them for. But to get a better idea of why I use each of the cards as I do and what made me select these specific cards in this quarter of 2024, I definitely recommend watching this one all the way through. Now, right off the bat, I feel like it's fun to mention the actual wallet that I'm using because it's a wallet that I haven't stopped using really since the first day I got into the credit card game. And that is going to be my Extra wallet here. The Extra wallets, the ones that you might be familiar with the card pop out feature like that. I've always had a link to their wallets in the description of all of my videos. And if you use the promo code down below, you also get a 5% discount if you want to get a wallet from them. So not a sponsored video, but they are wallets that I genuinely use every day. So I thought I'd mention them. And recently they actually sent me two of their new wallet designs that I'm probably going to swap my cards to right here in this video. The first one is basically this all white wallet, which looks extremely sleek in person. And I think this is going to be the one that I switch my cards to, but the other one that they sent is this oil slick design. So it's the same black Extra wallet as the one that I have right now, but the back like card holder, card protector slot has this oil slick design on it, which looks pretty cool. So yeah, definitely check them out if you're interested, but let's go ahead and dive into the 5 cards I have in my daily wallet. And then we'll get into the backup wallet after that. So maybe we'll order this from least used cards to most used. That kind of makes a lot of sense. So let's start there. Now, as for a card that's basically always been in my daily wallet since the day I got it, even though these days I only use it for like one category, that card is going to be the Amex Gold card. Now, the one category that I use it for these days is going to be grocery stores. And you might be thinking, well, why don't you use it for the dining category or the flight category as well? But with the addition of one of my most recent credit cards, my dining spend has now switched to that card. And one of my other credit cards that I have is what I use for flights and really all of my travel purchases. So again, the Amex Gold card is really only used for groceries these days. And I actually did recently get a Costco membership, which is here on the back flap of my wallet as well. And I can't use the American Express Gold card at Costco. So the only place I ever really pull out the Amex Gold card is at HEB. And for those that don't know, HEB is like our biggest grocery store here in Texas, or at least in the Austin area. So that's really all my gold cards gets used for these days. I do also use the credits on it every month, or at least try to use them every single month. And the ways that I use those are going to be through Uber Eats and Grubhub. Those are both $10 per month credits. The Grubhub credit comes from the dining credit, and that is a statement credit. So I basically just use the Amex Gold card on Grubhub once a month and get $10 back. And then the Uber Eats credit is a Uber cash credit, meaning that they deposit the $10 to your actual Uber account. You can use it for the ride share or for Uber Eats or whatever you want. And I use that credit for Uber Eats specifically. Both my Uber Eats and Grubhub accounts I set to pick up only, so I save on all the delivery fees and the, tipping the driver and stuff like that. And that's been really helpful for me. So yeah, Amex Gold card, 4x back on grocery store purchases, and I use the credits on it to give me positive value every year. My next least used card is actually going to be one of my most expensive cards, or scratch that, it is my most expensive card, that being the Chase Sapphire Reserve. As I've said in the past, these high annual fee cards are really mainly going to be used for their benefits and less so for the spending categories. So whenever I say this is one of my less used cards, I really just mean in spending form. I use it very frequently to get into the Chase Sapphire Terrace Lounge in the Austin airport, which is my home airport. But as for spending categories specifically, I really only use it for all of my travel purchases. It has great travel protections and insurances and gives me 3x back on basically all my travel purchases. Plus all my travel purchases help knock down the $300 annual travel credit on this card. So while I use this card for basically all of its benefits, the main one I really care about is going to be that Chase Sapphire Lounge access. I know they recently did nerf the priority pass access that this card had because it used to give you access to the restaurants and spas. And it was one of like 3 credit cards that gave that to you still. But to me, this did not impact my view on the card at all. I still just really like it for the Chase Sapphire Lounge access, which makes the most sense to me and why you would want this card over a card like the Amex Platinum or another premium travel credit card with even a Priority Pass Select membership on it. Moral of the story with the Chase Sapphire Reserve, this is my dedicated travel card that gives me 3x back on all of those purchases. And similar to the Amex Gold card, I also use it for its other credits and benefits to help offset that annual fee. Now let's move into the card that I literally added like 2 weeks ago at the time we were recording this video, that being the Amex Business Gold card. And yes, I do have the rose gold version of this card. So now I have both the classic and rose gold cards in my setup and actually in my daily wallet. But the main reason that this one actually is going to get at least a decent amount of use is because as of right now, I'm going to plan on using this as my gas station credit card as well as my phone service credit card. The Amex Gold card gives you 4x back on your top 2 eligible spending categories every month out of the list shown on screen right here. here. And the ones that make the most sense for my personal spend are going to be the gas station purchases, as well as just putting my phone bill on it to get their cell phone protection and stuff like that. I don't really see myself using the 3X categories or using it for anything else outside of those 4X categories. But similar to the Amex Personal Gold, it does have a couple of credits that help offset the annual fee on it, specifically a 240 flexible credit, which I'm going to use similar to the Gold card again for Grubhub, and a $155 Walmart Plus credit, which I did sign up for Walmart Plus for, and also signed up for Paramount Plus for underneath the Walmart Plus account. So I hope to get some value back from that, but I personally don't have a Walmart anywhere near me and don't do any shopping at Walmart as is. So the only real perk that one will give me is going to be giving me some discounts at certain Walmart, Exxon, Murphy, and Mobil gas stations, which is a perk of Walmart Plus. But yeah, for a card with a $375 annual fee, I don't necessarily see this one being one that I'm going to keep in year 2. I will definitely ask for a retention offer on it before canceling, because you never know, I might get a lot of points for just keeping it another year. So as somebody said in the comments of my Watch Me Apply for this card, go ahead and set your calendars for a year from now, because there's definitely going to be a video coming out about how I got a retention offer on the Amex Business Gold card, and then a subsequent one being where I'd cancel it probably in the following year. Now we're only 3 cards into my main wallet here. Remember, we still have a backup wallet to talk about here as well, but I want to take the time now to tell y'all about how I organize all of these spending categories in my brain and just figure out what card to use no matter where I'm spending my money. And that of course is going to be through the help of the app called Max Rewards. Max Rewards is an all-in-one credit card management app that allows you to track things like your total point balances, card balances, bill due dates, and much more, all in one convenient interface. And for somebody like me that has cards from 5 different lenders at the time of your recording, being able to accumulate all that data in one app rather than having to log into each one of those lenders separately is a huge plus. One way Max Rewards has helped me with basically every single credit card that I've applied for so far is that I've added welcome bonus trackers to the new cards that I add in order to keep track of that minimum spending requirement and make sure I'm going to hit the welcome offers, because if you're adding credit cards without welcome offers, you're definitely missing out on a ton of value. Max Rewards also has a paid tier called Max Rewards Gold that I do personally pay for, and that is going to do things like automatically activate your quarterly rotating categories for you on your cards like your Chase Freedom Flex, as well as activate your credit card offers for you across all of your cards, which has definitely been a big help for me since I would never go through all the apps and add those myself. They also have a bunch of other Max Rewards Gold features, as well as just free features that come with the app. So if you want to try any of those out, please be sure to download Max Rewards through the link in my description. And during the sign up process, if you enter the promo code Spencer, you'll get a 1-month discount off of your annual Max Rewards Gold subscription if you do decide to upgrade. Thank you to Max Rewards for sponsoring this video as always, but let's get back to my wallet. Okay, now I would say that my second most used credit card in my entire wallet is one that I added back in January of 2024, alongside my Chase Ink Unlimited that we'll talk about here in a little bit. But that of course is going to be the Bilt Mastercard. This card was one that was on my credit card roadmap for so long at the time of me applying for it. And now that I've moved to a new apartment as of the end of last year, it was just exactly the right time for me to add the Bilt Mastercard to my setup finally. Honestly, the biggest reason that it's the second most used card that I have in my wallet is because you do have to use the card 5 times per billing cycle to actually get your points. And yes, that does include the points that you would earn on rent. So it's super important that you actually spend 5 times on this card every month so you can actually get your points. At this point, I feel like everybody knows exactly what this card has to offer, but to give a quick reason as to why I use it, it's obviously going to be for my rent purchases. Now, I've talked about in a full video what my actual strategy is around paying for rent, because honestly, I don't think that the Bilt card is always the best card to use for rent purchases, even though it does give you 1x back and it's the only card to do that for your rent purchases without the transaction fee. And while that's a very powerful thing, I also think that welcome bonuses are a lot more powerful. So if I have a new card that I want to add and need, an additional amount of spend to hit my minimum spending requirement for that welcome offer, I would much rather opt to use that card during that welcome bonus minimum spending requirement period to lock in, say, a 30% return and pay that 3% transaction fee than getting just 1% on the Bilt Mastercard. So all of that to say, I think I've only put like 1 rent purchase on this card, and it was just a partial payment anyways because I did prepay for my rent on a couple of other credit cards I've added this year. But I still do use it now as my main dining credit card because it gives me 3x back on those purchases, and that helps me to hit that 5 minimum transaction limit that the Bilt Mastercard has. While I do still think that this card is like one that every renter should have, I don't think it's as necessary as people make it out to be, and that's basically what I covered in that full video on this card. But at the end of the day, that rule that they have with the 5 transaction limit has made me use this card a lot more than my other credit cards and has even replaced my dining spend on my Amex Gold, which I didn't want to do because, 3x Bilt points compared to 4x Amex points. Technically, I'd be better off with the Amex points. But in order to satisfy that transaction limit, you got to do what you got to do. And to be honest, 3 Bilt points per dollar is still extremely valuable to me on my dining purchases with Bilt's excellent transfer partners that I actually use very frequently. This was the first free credit card that I've talked about out of my whole setup, but unfortunately, that is going to be the last daily card that I use that is free. And my most used credit card on a day-to-day basis is going to be the Capital One Venture X. Now, this card has a $395 annual fee, but as y'all probably know as well, it is honestly like the easiest card to make up the annual fee on. Through 1, it's $300 annual travel credit, and 2, the 10,000 anniversary miles you get every year for holding the card. I actually just got this myself because I paid the annual fee on it, I think back in February. They deposited the points to my account recently. And yeah, that already gives me at least $100 of value back just for renewing the annual fee. Hence why I don't have a reason to close this card right now. Now, I don't purchase much, if any, travel at all through the Capital One travel portal. And the only time I do is to actually activate that $300 annual travel credit. But other than those 2 Capital One travel categories, this card does give you 2x back on just every purchase, which is why it's in my wallet. I use it as my catch-all credit card to lock in 2x miles on literally every purchase. Now, that explains exactly why this card is my most used credit card, because in reality, a lot of our purchases do fall outside of like a main category, and that's where the Venture X, comes in clutch for me. While I already get positive value from this card every year with just those 2 benefits that I mentioned a second ago, this card has also been my dedicated car rental card, considering it gives you Hertz President Circle status, and that, gives you access to the best rental cars with Hertz, or at least some of the best. And you can status match that status to other companies as well, but that benefit is being removed in 2025. So while that's still going to be what I use it for this year, that's going to change, come next year. So as of right now, these are the 5 credit cards that I use in my daily wallet. Let's go ahead and total up the annual fees on them, because honestly, I haven't done that yet since I added the Amex Business Gold. And yeah, right now, these 5 cards are costing me $1,570 a year to keep open. And that really only comes from 4 of the credit cards that are actually in my wallet, because the Bilt Mastercard, of course, has no annual fee. Y'all might think I'm crazy for doing that at 24 years old, but if you've watched my other videos about why I applied for each of these cards, you'll see exactly how I can actually make up the effective annual fees on these cards. And they do give me positive value every year for holding them, not negative value as the annual fees at face value may lead you to believe. So I'm going to go ahead and throw these into this white wallet here and see what those look like, because I feel like it's going to be the sleekest design here. Oh yeah, to me, that looks pretty dang good. This is what I'm going to be rocking for the next little bit here. The other stuff I have in my wallet real quick, just so y'all know, of course, I do have my Texas driver's license, which I'm not going to show y'all, but I did actually recently get a new one, and they have a new ID design for us here in Texas. So that's kind of cool. Have my new Costco membership card here, my Charles Schwab high yield investor checking debit card, which I use to basically wipe all ATM and foreign conversion fees if I ever need cash in a foreign country. I do plan on using this whenever I go to Croatia later this year, but I haven't actually ever used it in the past yet. I just keep it because I know that they will reimburse all the fees if I do use this card to pull money from an ATM. So it's nice to just have in the back pocket. And then I have my insurance card as well in the back, just in case I need it. Gonna go ahead and slide all of that into this new wallet as well. And then a little bit of cash here too, just to make sure that I have that as a backup. And there we go. My new wallet is all set up and ready to go, but we're not done. Don't you leave yet. We still have my backup wallet to go through, and I'm going to quickly explain why these are in my backup wallet and why some of the cards I used to use are not getting used anymore. So the first card I have in my backup wallet is going to be the Amex Blue Business Plus. This is a card that has been in my wallet for quite some time, literally since I got it, but I've decided to remove it for this quarter, at least while I test out the Amex Business Gold. And in reality, I never really have many in-person business purchases anyways, so while I won't be getting 2x back on those if I do need that, I'll still be getting 1x back with the Business Gold card. So that would like be in an extreme pinch. I generally just keep track of all of my business and personal spending through a spreadsheet anyways, so even if I put a business charge on my Venture X or something like that, I still get 2x points there, and I still can write it off because I keep track of that in a separate spreadsheet. This card still does have a couple of subscriptions set on it, so it's staying active, but it has been demoted to my backup wallet for now, and we'll see if and when that does come back out. Another card that I have in here that does actually get frequent use, but only for one category and one category only, is the Amex Business Prime card. Since it's the Amazon Business Prime card, I use it for all of my Amazon purchases. It locks in 5x back on all those purchases for me. I just leave it in my Amazon account and use the cash back from the card for personal purchases while putting all of my business purchases on the card at full cash value. That way I have a higher dollar amount of a purchase to write off next year. I also have the Chase Ink Unlimited in here, and this is a card that I applied for in January as well with the Bilt Mastercard. I applied for them on the same day actually, and the reason I did that is because I wanted to lock in the 90,000 point offer on the Chase Ink Unlimited while I was at 424, and then I added the Bilt Mastercard right after that, minutes after that, to push me back up to 524, but not until after I got this card. And I was okay with doing them on the same day because the Bilt Mastercard has no real welcome offer on it besides the 5x back in the first 5 days of having it, but 90,000 Chase points is much more worth it than putting the same amount of spend on the Bilt card, hence why I went with them both on the same day. The Ink Unlimited is my go-to business credit card. It's set up for like all of my editing services and the higher ticket expenses of my business because I do value Chase points so highly. I could put those purchases on the Amex Blue Business Plus, but I'll take a half a point less per dollar spent with the Chase Ink Unlimited in order to have Chase points added to my account rather than Amex. And that's just right now. That might change in the future, but I need more Chase points. Underneath that, I have the Chase Ink Cash. The Chase Ink Cash is one that really does not get used for anything these days. Got it a while back for the bonus, 90K. Points for that one as well, which was really nice. But I just have some like YouTube memberships and stuff set up on that. So it just remains active, but it's not one I really ever use. Oh boy, of course, we got to talk about my Chase Freedom Unlimited here because y'all know how much, I love my Chase cards. It's in my backup wallet because I just get 2x miles per dollar with my Capital and Venture X rather than just 1.5 with the Freedom Unlimited. However, I use the Venture X for all of my in-person catch-all purchases, which is a good amount of them, but a lot of my miscellaneous spend is done online, which is generally what I use the Chase Freedom Unlimited for. So I do rack up a lot of points on this card still, but I split up my catch-all purposes between my Venture X and my Freedom Unlimited. And then lastly, the card that I always forget about and the card that y'all always comment about on my What's in My Wallet videos because I forget to add it to my wallet every quarter is the OG Chase Freedom card. The OG Chase Freedom card gives you the same 5x back on the rotating categories that the Chase Freedom Flex does. And this quarter, it's going to give me 5x back on hotel stays and experiences, restaurants, and qualifying Amazon purchases. So technically this card should definitely be in my wallet for restaurant purchases as well as my Amazon purchases. I have and will continue to use this card on Amazon during this quarter because 5% cashback with the Business Prime is nowhere near as valuable as 5x Chase Ultimate Rewards points with this card. That's mainly what I'm using it for right now. And while it's not in my daily wallet, it is getting a lot of use. And while, like I said, I should be using this for restaurant purchases as well, I've still been using my Bilt card for all those purchases just because I want to lock in that 5 transaction limit on that card. I could shift my Bilt card to a few like small catch-all purchases just in order to activate those points and use the OG Freedom for my restaurant purchases. That might be something I toy around with, but I wanted to be sure to mention this card because I know that somebody would have called me out for not. And if somebody did call me out down below, then they didn't make it to this point in the video, so there's not much I can do about that. And the only other card that I don't have in my backup wallet or in my main wallet right now is the Citi Custom Cash. Y'all may have heard me say earlier that I'm going to be using the Amex Business Gold card as my gas station credit card, but that's been what I've been using the Citi Custom Cash for so long. And similar to me sacrificing a point per dollar spent on dining using my Bilt card versus my Amex Gold, I'll be sacrificing a point per dollar on my gas purchases by using the Amex Business Gold over the Citi Custom Cash. But since I don't have the Citi Premier card yet with Citi, I cannot transfer my points out to Citi's transfer partners, meaning that all of that spend, while I am earning 5% back and not redeeming those points so I can later use them for travel, I would just rather put those points to work now, and that's what the Amex Business Gold allows me to do, albeit at 1 point per dollar less. To me though, Amex points will always most likely be more valuable than Citi points anyways, so taking a little bit of a points haircut on those gas purchases, I would still say is very worth it, but we'll see how my opinion changes once I do get the Citi Premier. Now looking at the Citi Custom Cash eligible 5% categories, because I do now have the ability to use this card for a different category for 5% until I maybe switch it back to my gas card. I could use it at restaurants, gas stations, grocery stores, select travel, select transit, select streaming services, drugstores, home improvement stores, fitness clubs, and live entertainment. And honestly, with all the other cards I have right now, I don't really have an ideal spot to slot this one in necessarily, but I guess the one that I could use it for somewhat frequently would be home improvement stores. I honestly think that the Citi Custom Cash is just going to take a back seat here for a little bit, and I might add, one subscription to it or something like that to keep it active, or just use it for like inside the gas station here and there to still use it for 5% back on gas stations. But maybe I'll have some tips and tricks for me as to how to use this card better. Just keep in mind that I have all these other cards that cover all my travel purchases, my restaurant purchases, grocery store purchases, purchases, gas station purchases, streaming services, drugstores. And I don't pay for fitness clubs right now, and the live entertainment is something I rarely pay for. So it's just kind of in an interesting spot right now, but I'd be open to hear what y'all think about it. So there you have it. I'm going to go ahead and put up a summary screen here of all of my credit cards and exactly what I use them for, broken up by my daily credit cards on this first screen here. You can pause these if you want to look at them in further detail, but now I'll shift to the second screen, which would be my backup credit cards and what categories I use those for. Remember, like I said earlier, my high annual fee cards, while they may not look like I'm actually putting a lot of spend on them and stuff like that, the main reason I have those are for the benefits that they offer, the airport lounge access, the other elevated travel perks and benefits, as well as just dining and Uber credits and all of that stuff. So the summary screens won't tell the full story, but you at least know how I diversify my spend. Recently, I made an entire video ranking all of the credit cards that I have in my credit card setup. The only card that is not on that list that I mentioned in this video is the Amex Business Gold card, but I would highly recommend that y'all go check out that video because I explain my thoughts on each of these cards in a lot more detail. Even though this video was already pretty long, I do think that one is worthwhile and I think you'd really enjoy it. As always, Odin and I both want to say thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel, and we'll catch you guys next time.